Well, today's the 28th of November, it's 2024, and I'm now in Hanley. Anita's gone shopping with Angela, and I've come up to Hanley to have a look around here. I'm in the Hanley shopping centre. This is actually a shopping mall. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm guessing they've only just opened up or just opening up. Not really used to these places. It's a very typical sort of shopping mall you find anywhere in the UK, I suppose. They've got their Christmas decorations up, which is looking nice. I'm not going to spend long in here. I'm heading outside. I arrived on the top of the shopping floor. I parked in the car park, which is adjacent to the shopping mall, and I'm now going down to what I consider the ground floor, but there is a floor below. The actual floor below is like the old market. It's market stalls, shops on this floor, coffee house, various things, but I'm going to be heading outside all the way around this way. So this, when I was a lad, all those years ago, this wasn't here. This was the old market, and I used to come here. Even with Anita, I remember coming here. I used to come up on a Saturday. Anita used to work in the boots shop, which is just across the road. We'll see that in a minute. And I used to meet her at lunchtime, and we'd have a walk around Hanley and have some lunch. Nice scarves there. I've got my nice scarf, thank you, Barbara and Martin. Oh, and this is looking very pretty. I like this. These Christmas lights you can walk through. So why not? It's very cold outside. I might need to put my gloves on. Had to wait quite a while this morning for the frost to find the automatic door. They put some salt down to frost to melt on the car. So we're outside now. This is the main shopping area. This is Hanley, and Hanley is the city centre really for Stoke-on-Trent. I know we're in Stoke-on-Trent. You'd expect Stoke to be the city centre, but not really. This is the main centre, and this is the Potteries Centre, which is where I've parked and where I've just come through. And this is where all the shops are. Just across the road is Boots, and that's where Anita used to work. In fact, the very building. She used to have a Saturday job there when she was at school, and that served her really well. It's quite early for shopping and shoppers here, so not many people around yet. I always like just to come here just to have a look at this particular statue. This is one of the greatest footballers that ever lived. That's Sir Stanley Matthews up there on his plinth, and he's from Hanley. He's a Hanley lad, born in Hanley in 1915. It says on the plaque there, on the 1st of February 1915. And of course, amongst other teams, he played for Stoke City. Don't think I ever saw him play, but he played right up until he was in his 50s. So he had a great footballing career. Can't see the lights really today, but we've got the Christmas lights up, which they'll look pretty in the evening. The only thing is, everything closes around here at 5 o'clock. So we've got the Christmas tree there, which is lit up, but you can't really see it. And then we've got various shopping streets. And this is where I would come every day when I was at school. I used to have to catch a bus into Hanley, and then from Hanley I would catch another bus off to my school. So this is my bit of the world. It has changed a lot since then though. You've already seen the shopping centre which came out of nothing. This lovely looking building probably needs a bit of a clean up. On the left hand side here used to be the meat market, and meat, I think it was just meat actually. I think the fish was in the other market. And now it's a bookshop on that side there. Waterstone's bookshop, and then a pub I think called the Reginald Mitchell. We're going to hear more about Reginald Mitchell, but it's a lovely building. I don't know how well it comes out. I'm glad they've managed to keep it. There's a little clock tower up there. It does need a little bit of TLC though. It looks as though it's closed, opening just before Christmas. One of the saddest things was the bookshop that used to be on the corner here, Baleares, and that would be one of the places I'd often go after school, looking at the books and all the paper, pens and all that sort of stationery that they used to sell there. And sadly that disappeared quite a while ago, but that was one of my favourite places in Hanley. Another superb building which is no longer has its original use is this one. This is the original post office in Hanley, and isn't that just a magnificent building? And again, I'm glad they managed to keep it, but I'm just sad that it's no longer, it's got its original use. But it is being used, and it's there for us to enjoy. Looks like the post office sign might be falling down. It's actually in the stonework right up at the top there. All modern shops have arrived. This B&M is for me a modern shop, and the pub here is one Anita and I used to go to, and we lived in the UK occasionally. We were meeting some friends in Hanley. We'd often go to the Albion Hotel. I have memories there, some of them good, some of them not so good. And across the road here, that was C&A. We do have C&A in Mallorca. It's open and thriving. And that used to be C&A clothes shop. I remember buying a pair of bell-bottom trousers there many years ago. It's changed several times over the years, and more recently it was Wilko, but that too has now closed down, so no more Wilko. Looks to be empty. I'm just walking down here. The new bus station directly to the front on the right hand side. The old bus station is to the left, and it's now actually the Christmas market. If I've got time, I might have a look at that later, but I don't think I'm going to have time, so I just need to go down this way. Another magnificent building in Hanley. This was the town hall. As far as I know, it's up for sale, or I don't know what it is now. It's really sad. This is the Victoria Hall. There is a theatre here as well, where I used to go and see bands. But I was many years ago a student. During my vacation, I was called on to do jury service, and this is actually where I had to come to do my jury service. Never actually got to sit on the jury. I never got selected, but I used to have to come up and log in and say, log in. There was no such thing as logging in then. But anyway, I used to come up, and I think that room just at the bottom next to the main door, the sign says this building closed. Hanley Town Hall, 1869. I'm not sure what the significance of the dogs is. And here is remembrance statue where the wreaths are laid on Remembrance Day, which we've just been a few weeks ago. Across the road, that used to be a building society. It was our building society, the Hanley Economic. But that moved on somewhere else. I'm not sure where it is now, but it's now BBC Radio Stoke. And they used to have a webcam, so I used to look at the webcam quite often. And you'd look down onto this patio here, and you quite often see weddings, because this is what was the register for births, marriages and deaths, and you see people coming out after they got married and all the confetti blowing away. Sadly, the webcam doesn't work anymore. It looks as though there might be a camera, several cameras up there actually. Will they actually do anything or not, I don't know. And then here, it's now bingo, but it used to be Top Rank and probably other things as well. Baleares, was it? Never. I don't think I ever went to any of those. Radio Stoke, by the way, used to be a little bit further down this road. This road's Cheapside, down there on the left. And I used to listen to Radio Stoke before I went to school. And I just remember one day they played an intro song to a song, and you had to guess the name. You'd send your answers in on a postcode. There was no emailing stuff in or anything like that, or texting then. And I actually won it, and I can't remember what the prize was. It couldn't have been very much, but I won the competition by naming the song, which I don't think anybody else would have got really. It was a really weird, out-of-the-way song. It was the Hare Krishna mantra by the Bethesda Orchestra. That was, I don't know how I knew that. It was the link to George Harrison. The grey building down there is the telephone exchange. His mother used to work down there. It's the new bit of it. The old bit is now, I'm not sure what it was. It used to be a bar. But as I drove past, I noticed in the window it said it was some sort of church. Not sure whether that's so or not, I don't know. So my aim today was really just to go and have a look at the museum. Not sure what time it opens. It may or may not be open then. And just taken with some of the architecture. This has been nicely kept. It's, I guess, from the 1950s. Nice to see that. I'm just going to cross over so you can see the building on the other side. This building on the opposite side is called the Bethesda. It's an old church. Did actually get some lottery money, I think. And it's certainly looking a little bit better than it did last time I came by. Methodist Church. So I'm not sure whether it still is a Methodist church, but that's what it says on the door. And it had some money there from it says, from the National Heritage Memorial Fund. And then the other buildings, which are boarded up. I've got a feeling this was something to do with the water company. But it was a bar, and I actually remember going to it as a bar. It's quite interesting. Got to go and say hello to Arnold. This is Arnold Bennett, one of Stoke-on-Trent's famous sons, and he wrote many books. He wrote for newspapers and magazines, and was a very well regarded author in his day. He wrote about Stoke-on-Trent as well. He didn't call it Stoke-on-Trent, he used to call it the Five Towns, which was a little bit of a mistake actually, because there's actually 6 towns in Stoke-on-Trent. He left out Fenton and he changed the names, and he wrote lots and lots of books. Some of them have been made into films. The most famous one he's actually got in his hand here probably is The Card, and that was made into a film, which is still an enjoyable film to watch. It was made many years ago. Some TV series as well. Banner of the Five Towns, clay hanger, and he's remembered here. And another little connection that we have is that Anita and I were part of the founders of the Arnold Bennett Literary Society, and we used to organise events in Stoke-on-Trent for people who were interested in Arnold Bennett. And we did some quite interesting. We used to have an annual dinner and we'd get some famous writers to come and talk to us. I remember Margaret Drabble coming to speak. And we did actually get Arnold Bennett's daughter to come over many years ago, and she came to one of our dinners. And we used to have competitions, art competitions, writing competitions, and visits and different things. So it was really quite an interesting thing to be a member of. Anyway, just moving on, just going down here. There's been lots of changes in this particular area, but I'm not intending to walk down. But so you go down, there's a gap in the buildings there. That used to be the ABC cinema and bowling alley, and also there used to be a discotheque at one time there, which was always advertised as the biggest discotheque in Europe. Don't know if that was true, but I used to go there with my college, and we used to have our dances there at Christmas, so I've got certain memories of that. And the ABC used to have a Saturday morning club when I was a little boy. I used to come up here on a Saturday morning, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock, whatever time it was, and we'd watch the films in the morning, little series, and lady'd come round with ice creams and sweets and things. And the building just below that is the Mitchell Memorial Theatre. We've already come across Reginald Mitchell briefly at the bar. Well, that's the original Mitchell Memorial Theatre, which is usually amateur dramatics. So Anita's been involved with many shows that were put on there. And well, I got involved as well with things like lighting and photography, but never on the acting side. So this building on the left, this is the museum. That's where I do hope to go to when and if it's open. Before I do that, though, just something I don't know. Perhaps being away from Stoke-on-Trent or being away from the UK for such a long time, didn't really realise what had happened to libraries. And we've been down to visit Lara and Leon the Solent, and their local libraries quite thriving. But when we speak to the people who are in the library's actually run and maintained by volunteers, and well, they must survive on a shoestring. They don't get paid, they're volunteers. I don't know who pays for the upkeep of the building, but they seem to be doing a great job, and I thought that was quite an exceptional thing. And I was talking to a cousin recently, and he was telling me that his local library works on exactly the same principle, and they've taken it over as volunteers and look after the library. See the buildings behind this is the new town hall or civic offices, something like that. This was the library, this building here, grand building. There's a library. I spent hours and hours in this building. Again, as this was a hub for me coming home from school, if I needed to do any work or I needed to look something up or just general interest, I would come here and I would go to the library, and this was as it says on the window, the central library. It's empty, gutted. And I don't know. I know we've got everything on the internet, and I love the internet, and I love the things that the internet can do, but can't do something that books do. Books do something that the internet and looking at a screen can't do. So the library has now closed down this magnificent building. So on the ground floor they had a great lending library, you could borrow books, but on the upper floors there was the reading rooms and the reference library, and you could go in there and sit, study, and just like the one I was talking about in Newcastle, I spent a lot of time here as well as the one in Newcastle. The one in Newcastle I spent a lot of time because it was a place for Anita and I to go when we first got together. Just at the top of there, that's the town hall at the top, and behind that is the theatre, which as far as I know is still up and running, and that theatre, which was then called, I'm not sure what it's called now, it's called the Victoria Hall then, and it's where we used to go and watch all the bands. All the bands used to come and play there, and had a great time. The other place I used to go and see bands was Trenton Gardens, and I've done a video of that. Trenton Gardens, where I saw some really good bands like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Pink Floyd, Peter Gabriel, and really enjoyed those concerts there. Well, that's the concert hall that they were in, that's been demolished a long time ago. And the museum here is called the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery. That was built while we were still living here. I guess it's coming up to 50 years old, maybe. I don't know. Probably a plaque somewhere. Short. The door's open, so maybe have a go. See if they'll let me in. See if they'll let me do any videoing if I go in. Stoke-on-Trent is famous for its pottery, and probably less well known for its bricks, but all of the bricks here will be locally sourced, and the frieze that's across there is depicting some of the industries from the left hand side, where we've got the coal miners hacking out the coal, to the potters throwing the pots and the old pot banks. And it's also one of the parts of Britain where the canals became very important, so we've got the canals on the right hand side there as well. But I was always impressed by that, and I think somebody told me that their father or grandfather was actually involved in the construction of this, and that's something to be really proud of. It's really quite an impressive piece of artwork on the front of this building. So it says opening time Wednesday to Saturday 10 o'clock, so I'm okay, I can go in. Right, let's see if they'll let me film while I'm inside there. You never know. So I asked the lady and gentleman on the desk, and they said fine, except in one where there's a temporary gallery. So let's make our way through. This is the art gallery. I think I'll take some photos in here so I can show you later on, because I'm not sure, it's a bit dark how the video will come out. And one of the things that always catches my eye wherever I go is when you see these miniature things and this quite amazing doll's house here. Well, this area is a little brighter, some dark areas. But you'll see some of the things that Stoke-on-Trent is famous for. This is one of them. So these are just small things. I suppose they'd be used in the shops that were selling them. So some of my family actually worked in the pottery industry. My brother actually trained in the pottery industry, and well, there isn't much of an industry left, I don't suppose. There's still a little bit of an industry, and it seems to become popularised on the TV now with a show dedicated to making and throwing pots and showing what can be done. But Stoke-on-Trent thrived on pottery for many, many years, and things other made from clay. And the reason really was because they had all their ingredients. They had clay, local clay that could be brought in, and they had coal. It's a bottle kiln. Still a few of those around, not so many. Lots of it, lots of the work was hand decorated. Anita's sister got into decorating. She was a beautiful artist, and she would be painting plates and saucers and cups. $300 old, some of these. I remember Anita making something like that cradle there. She did pottery when she was at school. This huge bowl was actually more than 200 years old. And the famous Wedgwood ware. And one of the things many people come to see is called the Staffordshire Hoard, which is a whole collection of gold and jewellery. Unfortunately, been taken away most of it, so I'm not going to see any of that today. One of my favourite parts of the museum is the part that shows some of the local history, and a lot of it brings back memories from me. I must be getting old, but this in particular, I'm sure I can remember chip shops that looked just like this, and it's where you'd come and you'd spend your 2 pennies then, or 1 penny for some chips. I don't remember them being quite that cheap, but I'm pretty sure Clare Street looked a bit like this when I first went all those years ago. I'm not quite so old as to remember things like that, but some of the signs I certainly recognise. And then just down there at the back, Tom Byatt, Stoke. Tom Byatt was had a car sales room where my uncle worked. And it was the last century when I went to school, but it perhaps wasn't quite like that. And I guess Europe wasn't completely like that either. This is the chemist shop or the pharmacy, and I was always fascinated by the chemist shop, and I used to go down there not just to buy things like aspirins and things, but they used to sell test tubes and glass tubing, and I used to buy that, and I think that's where my interest of chemistry certainly increased. I used to buy chemicals as well from there. They used to sell me chemicals. You'd believe that. Now, my mother and my grandmother used to have a mangle. That's just the way they used to dry the clothes, but I think ours was an electric one. And you can see the bathtub hanging up on the wall. I can remember having a bath in a bathtub like that, sitting in front of a coal fire. It's the old-fashioned kitchen with fire in front. Would warm the house, and it would also be the cooker.
Break this fruit cake up and put it in between the bread and margarine because we couldn't get.
I do remember going to pubs that were pretty much like this as well.
We could take the opportunity, if we get the right sort of things back, to put some in here. Yeah. With some kind of.
And now to the Spitfire gallery, which is part I've been waiting for. This is to see the Spitfire, which I used to come and see years ago. It wasn't actually situated here when I used to come and see it. It was actually in its own glass dome. But I was always fascinated by the Spitfire, designed by Reginald Mitchell. And Reginald Mitchell is a famous son of Stoke-on-Trent. In fact, he went to a school here, which is now called the Mitchell High School. It was originally called the Hanley High School. And it's where I went to do my 11th plus just few years ago. And Reginald Mitchell went on to design this fantastic aeroplane, which helped tremendously during the Second World War. But a display here which shows the actual development of the Spitfire from 1936 as a prototype right through the war years, and even to some post-war years. Though I've seen it many times in different places, and I've seen them flying, they are still quite amazing aircraft. My eldest daughter Lara lives in Lyon-le-Solent. There's an airfield there which has regular flights of Spitfires. Not sure I want to do that. I'm not sure I'd even fit in the cockpit. But it is wonderful sound to hear, sight to see. And there's the plaque that was at the school. It says that Reginald Mitchell was there from 1905 to 1909. Just looking at the stained glass window here, Reginald Mitchell CBE. I'm just looking at this stained glass window and wondering whether it came from Longton High School, where I taught. They had a whole set of stained glasses with pictures of famous people from Stoke-on-Trent. I think Mitchell might have been one of them, so it may well have come from the school that I taught at. I've actually now found the information, and the stained glass window was actually from Longton High School, so I was right. There's quite a lot of other memorabilia here from the war, and including, there's a gas mask there, but there's a rattle and a bell. These would be used by the air raid warnings of gas attacks. But the rattle later became used, or was previously used, at football matches. When I came in, the gentleman said I should start on the top floor and make my way down to the bottom floor, finishing at the Spitfire exhibition. Exactly what I've done, because it's next to the cafe, so I can have myself a coffee. So cheers everyone. Well, I'm really happy I've had an opportunity to go into the museum, do a little bit of filming, and to take a few photographs. It's somewhere that I've been fascinated with since a child. And so if you found it interesting, thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.